Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Getting Dirty in the Neverwinter Nights 2 Toolset. We are still playing Path of Evil Remastered, and we have discovered another bug. And thank you to one of my subscribers, Jesse Green, who originally noticed this bug. It is a experience point exploit bug this time. We are in the upper suite level of Barenthir, and we are up in the northern side right here. And in this study right here, there is a book, a large metal book. If you open this book and you read it and you cycle through all of its dialogue, when you get to the end, you're going to get that journal update along with experience points gained of 2,500. Now, that's all good and well, but if you go to this book again and then do the exact same dialogue option and go all the way to the end, you will get another 2,500 experience points, and we want to resolve that. If we leave it like that, you can cheat. It's pretty much what's going to happen. You can exploit that for more experience points. So we're going to go ahead and fix that next. Let's go into the tool set. Back in the tool set again. Alright, we are in the Poe Stronghold module folder, and now we are in this area. It's the str_strong_level 2 area. This is your suite area in your stronghold, Barenthir and Akathis. And when you come up here, you're going to have a study with a book which is sitting on a pedestal right here. So let's go ahead and take a look at this book. And yeah, it has an unused script. This script here just essentially makes it so you can talk to this object through conversation. That's all the script is. Action, start conversation. Alright, so when you run into a placeable like that, more than likely there is a conversation file attached to the actual placeable itself, and sure enough, here it is. It's this str location book. So let's go ahead and open that thing up, and let's take a closer look at it. Alright, so here we are. And the dialogue itself, let's take a quick look at this branch here. It was down toward the end where you closed the book, so let's take a look at this one here. Reading such a complex language has left you temporarily mentally fatigued. Your movement is laborious, and then you close the book. And at that point, you should get that experience point. So let's take a look at the action scripts. Yeah, here's the journal script, and let's take a look at them over here. We got the GA journal script there. And then right after that, we have a GA give quest XP script. And we're going to take a closer look at that in a second. And finally, we have this third one here, the str temp fatigue. That's probably the script that's going to make you weak after you read this book. I already know what the problem is, but let's take a close look at this script right here, this GA give quest XP. Let's just go ahead and open that one up so we can get a better view of this thing. It's a very simple script. Give everyone experience for completing a quest. The experience goes to all PCs in the party. Alright, yeah, this one's using the reward party quest XP function. And essentially what that's doing, if we come up here to view, go to your journal, and this is a campaign, so we're going to go to the campaign. And let's go to collapse all. Now let's go back. Yeah, the quest tag is this crown location one, alright? Let's see, it is Poe crown location. So if we go back up here in the journal, and let's sort it by tag. And the tag is Poe crown location. Yeah, it's this one right here. Let's expand this so you can read it. Now you can see there's an XP column attached to this particular quest, and it's 2,500. That's where it's pulling that number from, that 2,500 in this case. Alright, so let's go back to this. Now, what we want to do is we only want this particular script to run once. So the first thing that comes to mind is making another node, an NPC node, and I think that's exactly what we're going to do. Now, remember how I said this in previous videos? The red nodes are the NPC nodes. That's what the NPC is going to say, and that's what's going to display on screen for the NPC. Now, you can only show one of those at a time. You can't show multiple ones like you would In a PC node, like they could have multiple, you're going to have multiple options, maybe 2 or 3 or 4, and you can pick one. But when it's an NPC node, only one of them can show at a time. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a second node that has these exact same dialogues in it. So what we're going to do, this one right here, the closed book one, that's the one with all the scripts. Alright? But the one we want to do is the node just prior this NPC node. And what we're going to do is we're going to hit, we're going to copy this. So let's hit Control C. We're going to copy that node. And when you do it like that, it's going to copy all the nodes after that point too. So what we want to do is we want to make a duplicate node right after this continue node right here. So let's highlight continue, and now we're going to hit Control V to paste. Alright, see what I just did? I made 2 nodes exactly the same. And you notice they're on the same branch right here. So when you get to this point, it's always going to show the first one. Remember, like I said, on these red NPC nodes, only one of them can show at a time. Okay? So it's automatically going to hit the first one that it comes to. Now, let's take a look at this node tab down here. If you look down here, click on this node tab, and you're going to see this property here called show once. Notice how this one is set to always. That means this node's always going to show no matter how many times you read this dialogue. Okay? What we're going to do is we're going to change that node to once per game. Now you can see there's multiple options we can choose from. The one we want is going to be once per game, which means exactly what it says. In this entire game, no matter who has this same conversation, because remember, this dialogue file can be placed on multiple creatures. So if you talk to each of those creatures, this same dialogue is going to execute. If you set this to once per game, all those dialogues, this node is only going to show once, even if you talk to multiple characters with the same dialogue. Now, if you look at this other option that's just prior to it, this once per creature that uses this conversation. Now, if you set it to that, and in the same example that I just showed you, if you had multiple creatures all using this exact same dialogue, each of those creatures will let you see this node, okay? And every one of their dialogues, okay? That's what that's saying. Now, in this other one, once per conversation, this one means if you just have one conversation and then you just keep looping back through it, it's only going to show it in that particular conversation. So if you exit out of that conversation and then talk to this guy again, then it's going to show up again. That's what that means. Alright, but the one we want to do is this once per game one. We only want this node to show up once in the entire game, no matter who has this. And I'm pretty sure there's only one creature that's got this dialogue. So we're just going to set that to once per game. So it's only going to show once. Alright, no matter what. Now, in that particular branch right there that we have it set to show once, we're going to leave all these scripts here. We're going to leave this journal update and this experience points and this temporary fatigue script on there. Alright, so that means the first time the character goes through this conversation, this branch is going to run. Alright, not this one. This branch is going to run. And then when you get to the end, it's going to run all the scripts like normal, like it should. Alright? But now, let's say we exit out of this conversation, we come back into it again, and we read this whole branch again. Now, because this branch is set to once per game, this branch will not show up. So that means it's now going to go down to this branch. Okay, so now we're on this branch. We're going to now remove these action scripts that we don't want in here. Okay? So let's go to this node right here. Let's go to these actions. Now, we want to keep this fatigue one there, though. We're not going to get rid of that one, because this book is supposedly giving you a fatigue penalty after reading it. But this journal update and this experience points, we're going to get rid of those. And you can hit your control button, okay, if you want to select multiple scripts right here. So if you see this little blue box, that means you have it selected. If you hit your control button, you can select 2. Okay? So now both of these scripts here are selected. Now you can hit remove, and it's going to delete those 2. Okay, so all that's on there is this fatigue now. So that will effectively remove that exploit, because remember, this branch is only going to show once, and that's the branch that's got the experience points script on it. So if they talk in this dialogue again, it's now going to go to the second one, all right, which does not have experience points scripts on it. Pretty simple. Can't screw that up. All right, let's see. Is there anything else in here? I think I did notice something else. There was something wrong with this dialogue. I think there was some spelling errors in it somewhere. Where was it? Oh, right here. Yeah, scatter. That should be scattered. We're scattered. ED, and I think this one had the same thing in there somewhere. Yeah, let's put scattered. Yeah, this is something I'm pretty terrible at, is checking spelling and stuff. Even though I got this spell checker up here, this it's just one of the things that's just not fun for me. I don't know why. Let's see. While we're here, let's take a look at these custom scripts that he made, these temporary fatigue scripts. These are custom ones, obviously, that Kamal made. Let's take a closer look at them. Let's just go ahead and open it up so we can see what it looks like here. Alright, so what this script is doing, it's setting the movement speed to 25%. Let's take a closer look at this. Create a movement speed decrease effect, and it's a percentage change. That's what the 25 means. So it means, yeah, it's reduced. Your character's speed will be reduced by 25%. That's what this is saying down here. And now you can see there's something called extraordinary effect. If you read the description down here, set the subtype of the effect to extraordinary and return effect. Now if you keep reading, it says extraordinary effects are removed by resting, but not by dispel magic. There's 3 types of these effects right here. Let's see. Let's do a filter for effect. Nope, I gotta spell it right. Alright. Let's look for the extraordinary effect, which is the one we just looked at. There's the extraordinary effect one, and now there's 2 other ones. There's one called magical effect, and then there's another one called supernatural effect. Let's take a look at the descriptions, because all 3 of these, supernatural, magical, and extraordinary, they're all very similar. But let's do the magical effect one. Let's look at this description now here. Here it says magical effects are removed by resting and by dispel magic. Alright, now let's look at the supernatural effect one. Permanent supernatural effects are not removed by resting. Alright, and now let's go back to extraordinary. Extraordinary effects are removed by resting, but not by dispel magic. So you can see they're very similar, but it's telling you if you set an effect to extraordinary, the only way to get rid of it is by resting, not by using dispel magic. But if you use magical, if you set an effect as a magical effect, the only way you can get rid of it is by resting or by using dispel magic. And then if you go to supernatural effect, it's permanent and it may not be removed by resting. All right. See how that's working? It's changing an effect. It's changing an effect's way to set it as permanent or ways to remove it from your character. That's what that's doing. All right. So this one's setting it to an extraordinary effect, which means if you rest, you can get rid of this movement speed decrease. That's what that's saying. Okay? Because as you can see, this movement speed decrease is E effect. That's its declaration. And now, in this extraordinary effect, you can see E effect is in here, which means it's setting this effect, which is E effect, which is now here, to extraordinary, which means you can get rid of it by resting. Alright? And then this effect gets put into this apply effect to object function, which sets it as temporary. Here's the effect, and then here's the target it's set on, which is the speaker, and then float, which is 60.0, which means 60 seconds. That's what's going on. Alright, so that's a pretty cool little script right there. Alright, we don't need to get in here, so we can close out of that. Let's see, we don't need to get into there. So I think we are good now. So I'm going to come over here and add a comment to this. Fixed an XP exploit. Alright, that should be good. And I think everything else going on here is pretty self-explanatory. There's a check item here, and then there's a skill check over here as far as conditions go. And I think we went over GA destroy scripts and give item scripts and stuff like that. And setting global integers, we already went over that stuff too. As well as setting journals. So yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. So let's go ahead and close out of this, and then we're going to save it. Yes. Now what we want to do, let's come down here to conversations, and then we're going to look for that particular dialogue. Yeah, here it is. STR location book. Let's open it up, make sure everything's saved in it. Yep. What we want to do is set that to campaign. So we're going to highlight it and then come down here, convert to campaign. Okay, so now it's going to be save game compatible. So everything should be good to go. So let's go in the game and let's test it now. Alright, here we are back in game. Let's go talk to the book. Now this is our first time now, so everything should be normal. Let's just read the book. We should get to the end, and there we go. We have our journal update, and we got our 2,500 experience points. Now let's go back into the book again and select it again. Let's see. There you go. No experience points bonus. So that's pretty much fixed. Now while we're here, let's check something else. Let's destroy this book and scrap it for a couple iron ingots, see how it works. Alright, we just picked up a couple iron ingots and the book is destroyed. So that looks like it's working fine. Alright, so that was a easy fix. Please leave a like, ladies and gentlemen, if you like that. And let me know if you have any questions, and then we'll see you in the next episode.